Now, the reason when I left Wrexham College and I won the Stevens competition is I was taken to London, and it was my first time in London. It was the first time I wore a suit. It was the first time I think I'd been off Anglesey, which was a bit of a shock because we were all very small then. So when I came to London to take on the first prize of winning the Stevens competition, I met Neil Muir from Goddard and Gibbs. I've known Goddard and Gibbs since the 1990 when I won the Stevens competition. I was a student at the time and visited the studios in my school holidays. I marvelled at the scale of things. When Neil Muir asked me if I wanted to work in a placement, I jumped at the chance. Every summer holiday after then, I worked in the studio. I made huge mistakes, I didn't know what I was doing. There's no way after going to college for 3 years was I able to call myself a professional and come out and have business cards printed. I thought that was ridiculous. Because after being in Goddard and Gibbs, I realised exactly what professional glaziers did and what they meant and what they stood up for. I learned so much, more practical knowledge than any college could have taught me. In fact, when I went back to college, I was teaching the others what to do and getting told off for it. Goddard and Gibbs was a cathedral of craftspeople. This, in fact, is John Lawson. He was the designer whilst I came to the studio. He was an incredible man. He was so knowledgeable. He could tell you anything about stained glass. He'd fill you with dreams and passion. He never, ever, ever made me feel stupid. I really admired him. Goddard and Gibbs was a cathedral of craftspeople. It was a mishmash of everybody who came together to work towards one aim. Art students were encouraged to come out to work in the studio and to come to the studio for advice and training. This slide is a restoration of cutting in a small piece of glass. You can see the maker's holding up, well, you can't actually, but he's holding up a piece of clear glass just to take on the shape. And the next slide is him cutting it. You can see the head of the painted figure next to him. He's tracing a line with a pen. He's cutting around with a really old-fashioned shore cutter. And he's going to repaint that head because it's too damaged to put back in again. When students came to the college, we weren't allowed to work on the windows directly. We were allowed to go into the setting out room and draw up stained glass windows, because that's where our knowledge was based. We had some more intellectual skills because we used rulers, we had books. We didn't spend 3 years on the bench learning how to do the skills. We didn't spend Okay, I'm going to whiz quite quickly through these slides because they are beautiful and they're worth seeing. All of these are restoration work from Goddard and Gibbs. This is what I was saying about the skills being on the first year of diamond lights, and the second was ornamentals. They loved their job, the guys in the workshop. All of them, and they're celebrating a birthday. I can see balloons in the back here. And they were lovely people to work with. Most of them were from the East End of London. They were hilarious. There's one story I have to tell you. Where is it? This kid here. Ernie Barker came in. He was toothless and retired. He would come in cement for 2 days a week. Once, Mike Snow forgot to pay him his Christmas bonus, so he didn't come back. Charles Clark, who was the studio manager, went looking for him, and he couldn't find him. Where's Ernie? God, where's Ernie? So when they brought him back in, he was like, you forgot to pay my... And Charles Clark was convinced they'd bring him back because he worked for his father, and the respect of the studio went down a long way. It's one little phrase Ernie used to say, stained glass, glaze them, I used to be shitting. God, who is this man? Right, okay, I'm going to whiz through these slides. I actually want you to see some of my work at the end. Diamond lights, these are ever so difficult things to make. There's Dave Williams looking like he's lining up. He's actually posing. We used to call him Freddie Mercury. I didn't say that. Arthur Buss, he was a designer way before my time. He was an exceptional designer. John Lawson carried on after him. Some of John Lawson's work. His styles were different and his painting style was different. These were painted by, I forget the name, Bill Smith. He was an exceptionally good artist. Fascinating. I mean, the skill today, and also the scale of work, we won't be able to see anymore because no one's got the money to pay for it. I'll just flip through these. They are incredible work. The best studio work that ever came out of Goddard and Gibbs was Westminster Abbey and the Henry VII Chapel. It is incredible. Now, if this is what you might might have seen on Mastercraft, this is Harry Cardross. Harry Cardross excelled in geometric work for Middle East domes. It's absolutely amazing. Now, we have skills in the studio today, although the glass work is modern and it's, you know, and we have to earn a living, so all sorts of things get done. Caroline Swash, who's my mentor, she's incredible. You can go and see her work, she's brilliant. She helped me on Mastercraft. This is the Leicester job, which I project managed for the company after making my blue window, which is actually coming on right now. This is the Acid Girls. We were great. We have to wear rubber all the time. Fantastic. I love it. I really do love it. This is my work. Do I have any time? 1 minute. Excellent. Okay. This is my blue window, which is a staircase window, 1.6 metre panel. Samples of bonding. This is the same technique I use with Western Lonningfield. It's acid etched glass bonded to get the third colour. I can paint some heraldry work for a private commission. This is for the Mayor of Bangor, and it's twinned with a little town in Germany. Lots of commissions were good, working for a fantastic school in South East London. And I think her time's up. Yeah? No? This is a brilliant slide. This was the same school. I was commissioned to make the centenary panel, and it was opened by the Queen. I don't know, I went about as blank as I am today, really, because I shook her hand and nearly fell over. It was absolutely unbelievable to meet the Queen. I was pinching myself and everything to try and just not completely phase out. It was amazing. Back to the skills. Well, now, because Goddard and Gibbs ceased to trade in 2006, unfortunately, we don't have the facilities to use. And there's not only me, but the other 25, 30 staff members who have now dispersed. Some of them don't do it, some people do it in little sheds around the country. Some people are just sad. I don't have the facilities to use to do my sketching or sandblasting, so I simply can't afford it, and the work isn't coming in at the moment. It is if you have a great profile, but you know, as well, I don't want to work with the architectural designers at the time because I don't work in sheet glass. I do architectural, real, traditional leatherwork, and I love it, and I train people to do it. So